Hello everyone and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Monday, July 4th, so obviously we're going to start off by just saying happy 4th of July to everyone. Please keep in mind the meaning behind this holiday. It's not just to shoot off fireworks, it's to celebrate our nation and, obviously its freedom, and for those who did serve and fight for their freedom, whether it was in the very beginning or over the years. But with that being said, this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in today's video, we'll be taking a look back at yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about my core plays for today. It is a 7-game main slate overall, and then going over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and going over my top GPP stacks for today. But with that being said, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, we had Brandon Woodruff, $10,000. He got to 52 points. He was a hit yesterday and the third overall pitcher on yesterday's slate. Can't really complain there. Very, very good play overall. Then at first base, we had $2,700 Joey Votto. Got to 6 points. He was a push. Not anybody that completely killed you, but still could have been a little bit better yesterday overall. Then we had Austin Riley at $3,400. Got to 9 points. Gave him a push as well, just since he was at that $34 mark. You'd least expect him to get to double digits. Just didn't quite get there yesterday. Then at shortstop at $3,000, we had Luis Urias. Got to 3 points. He was also a push. And then last but not least, we had Juan Soto, $3,800. Got to 6 points. He was a push, and he unfortunately ended up getting hurt in this game. Left the game with a calf injury. So kind of unfortunate there yesterday. Pitching play, very good. The hitters kind of all pushes. So unless you had some other pretty good plays along with this core five, probably was a little bit rougher day overall. But with that being said, today is a new day, and we'll get over to my core picks for today's main slate overall. But with that being said, today is a new day, and we'll get over to FanDuel to talk about my core picks for today. So at pitcher, we're going to go with Taijuan Walker, $8,900, averaging about 28 fantasy points per game on the season. Yes, he's had some pretty good starts. Yes, he's had some pretty bad starts. Goes against Cincinnati today. Has pretty good history versus these Reds hitters, so I do expect it to be a good start for him today. $8,900, a little bit cheaper than some of these other pitching options today. If you're not going with him, you're probably paying up to like a Carlos Rodon or an Alek Manoah, both right around $11,000. So I'd rather just try to save a little bit of money today overall. Then at first base, we have Jose Abreu, $3,100, averaging just over 10 fantasy points per game on this season. 7 for 18 with 1 home run versus Dylan Bundy, who is the starting pitcher for the Minnesota Twins today. He is also on a 7-game hitting streak, so definitely a lot of upside with Jose Abreu today overall. Then we move down to third base with Chris Bryant. You could also play him in the outfield if you want to do so as well. $3,100, averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game on the season. Obviously, had dealt with some back injuries early on this season. Hasn't played in a ton of games because of that. Starting to come alive as of late. 7 for 18 with 1 home run versus Julio Urias in his career. So definitely could be some upside there today as well. Then we move down to the outfield with Austin Slater, $2,600, one of my favorite players in baseball. Can't really explain why. He's just kind of been one of my favorites for fantasy for a long time, but a guy that typically hits left-handed pitching very, very well. Goes against Madison Bumgarner today. He is 4 for 8 versus Bumgarner in his career, so definitely a lot of upside once again today. Then last but not least, we're sliding all the way down to our utility spot with another first baseman in CJ Cron, $3,900, averaging over 12 fantasy points per game on the season. Has pretty good history versus Julio Urias as well. 7 for 17 with 2 home runs versus him in his career. Definitely a lot of upside there, and he's also on an 8-game hitting streak, so definitely a lot of potential for another big game out of CJ Cron today. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, you have $13,400 remaining, just over $3,300 per player. If you want to pay up for a stud or a higher priced player, you could definitely do that as well. Mix and match some value plays in there. Going to be an interesting slate overall today. There is some decent history for some of these hitters. Other hitters, there's not quite as much history to go off of. So we're going to have to go off of recent trends and kind of how players have been playing overall. But it should be a relatively interesting slate altogether. But with that being said, we'll get over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talk about my top GPP stacks for today. So the 4 that I do have for today, we're going to start off with the Colorado Rockies going against Julio Urias of the Los Angeles Dodgers. These Rockies hitters have hit him historically well, so definitely do not have a problem going back to them once again today. We have the San Diego Padres going against Chris Flexen and the Seattle Mariners. Flexen doesn't have too much upside overall. Padres hitters, while it has been very, very limited history against Chris Flexen, they all have done very well against him, so don't really have a problem playing any of them versus him today. Then we have the Los Angeles Dodgers on the other side of that Rockies game. Definitely have some pretty good hitters, and they're going against Kyle Freeland today. He doesn't have quite the best history versus most of these hitters, so do have some interest in Dodgers bats once again. And then last but not least, we have the Toronto Blue Jays going against Cole Irvin of the Oakland A's. Most of these hitters don't have a ton of history versus him, but some of the ones that do have some pretty decent history, and some of these other guys just have high upside versus a lackluster pitcher that we want to attack them either way. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, July 4th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on today's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or whether it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you had to say. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Mainly focused at MLB DFS at this point in time, since that's kind of the major sport that's going on. But once we get back around to the NFL and NBA regular seasons, I'll be covering those two sports as well. And then with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily MLB DFS videos just like this. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.